Mike Reis. Mike Reis is not a native of Southern Illinois, but he might as well be. Mike is as well known as the Saluki mascot and a lot more petable. He graduated from Carbondale as a radio TV major and never left. His on-the-air career began on campus in 1975. So what has he done since? Well, he's in his 40th season doing radio play-by-play of SIU football, basketball, and baseball. No one under the age of 50 has heard anyone but Mike broadcasting Saluki sports. He's an icon in Saluki Nation. He's called SIU's 1AA National Championship in football, 2 Final Four teams in football, 9 NCAA basketball tournament teams, including 2 Sweet 16 teams, 9 NCAA teams, 7 Missouri Valley Conference Championship teams, and in baseball, 4 NCAA tournament teams. He has a wall of awards acknowledging his great career, including the SIU Athletics Hall of Fame, the SIU Alumni Achievement Award, John Sanders Spirit of the Missouri Valley Conference Award, and the Illinois Basketball Coaches Hall of Fame. And if coaches like you, that's quite an accomplishment. In 2010, he was named the National Association of Sports Writers and Sportscasters Illinois Sportscaster of the Year. We are honored to add the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame to Mike Reis's list of accomplishments.
Thank you.
40 years, Mike. That is a long time in one market.
Oh, it sure is. And Todd, I'm stunned by this. The mere fact that a prestigious organization like me even knows who the hell I am, let alone worthy of being in this, is just stunning. And many thanks to you, to Ron Jacober, to Steve Porter. You're the guys that helped make it happen, and everybody who played a role in me being part of this. 40 is a long time, and that wasn't the goal at the start, I don't think, no.
Well, it certainly helps that you have a Saluki sitting on the other end of the table from you, and the guy who just read your video is a Saluki as well. So you had 2 dogs to the core there in your corner.
Politics are key too, Todd.
Yeah, you did well. Thank you.
Thank you.
But 4 years, so the goal wasn't necessarily to go to SIU and stay there for the next 4 years of school and the next 40 years of, what kept you there?
The mere fact that we do it like we're in a major market, Todd, no matter who has owned the rights, be it the radio stations, which it was at the start, or now Learfield owns the rights, the SIU's marketing arm, they have provided the resources to do it right. I know that probably most people here haven't heard our broadcast, but I think you would stereotype Carbondale as being a small market sound. Well, my goal has always been, can we make it sound like a major market? And the only way you can do that is with the proper resources. And we've had that, be it the personnel, the people that I work with, be it the equipment we use, all of the things that are involved are major market. And they have been no matter who's owned the rights. And so as a consequence, I had this job 2 days out of college. And so I had a goal 2 days out of college. I'd achieved a career goal at 22 years old. Probably should have made some more goals. But I had that one at 22 years old. And every time I talked to somebody else, I had it better where I was simply because of the way we were supported. And so 1 year becomes 5, which becomes 10, which the next thing you know, it's 40. And that's a stunning number to me. But you can't do it unless you have the resources, no matter what business, what arm of sports you're in, and we have that at Southern.
40 years is a stunning number, I mean, no matter what profession you're in, really. So when you're growing up in Cleveland, Ohio, what voices do you hear when you're laying in bed at night and your parents want you to go to bed and you have the transistor listening to the ball game? What voices drew you into the sports and drew you into a life?
I'm one of the hundreds of sportscasters who put the radio under the pillow and listen to Jack Buck, listen to Harry Carey. My basketball is a lot like Joe Tate, who did the Cleveland Cavaliers for years, and I was born in Cincinnati and grew up in Cleveland and then moved to Chicago before going to Southern. So at night I would listen to those guys, plus Ernie Harwell with Detroit. Ray Fosse was up and coming with Cleveland, so obviously we're big Indian fans. And so we're there at the start of his career. My brothers are here tonight. I think they're happy I'm in, but they're really happy I'm going in with Fosse, especially my youngest brother, who is his biggest fan. And so I listened to all those games and copied all of those people, and then you take the stuff that doesn't work from you, work in your stuff, and you eventually have your own style.
Yeah, talk about what a small world, especially in the sports field, for sure. I mean, you're going from Cleveland out into Southern Illinois. Ray Fosse's going from Southern Illinois up to Cleveland. Do you remember it all? Maybe passing each other on I-57 or something?
Maybe we did, but I don't remember it. He had a little bigger name than I had, but it is ironic. It certainly is.
But now you have to do baseball, and you do the basketball, and you do the football. That's a lot of versatility. I mean, not too many guys can do 3 sports. Was that something that was a struggle early on? Did you have to learn one sport more than the other, maybe? Or was there one sport maybe you were more comfortable with?
No, I needed to learn them all. At that age, when I first started, I thought I knew it all, but I needed to learn it all. Had quite a few mentors, coaching-wise. Ray Dempsey was Southern's football coach then. In the late 70s and early 80s, won a national championship. Itchy Jones was SIU's baseball coach at the time. When I was a student and a student reporter, Paul Lambert was the basketball coach at the time, and they were all very patient. And but yet at the same time, I wanted to work and I wanted to learn, and I think they liked that. And then once I got into the business, I had to learn from people. Greg Starrick, who's here tonight, taught me basketball, and I learned a lot about that from that standpoint. I think I always felt confident that I could do games in all 3 sports, and you had to do all 3 sports if you were going to make a living, especially in the market that we're in. But I knew I had things to learn. And I certainly learned them. And like I said, one thing leads to another. I think my style, I came up as a reporter, and that's my background. And the business has changed so much that I'm both lucky that I've lasted 40 years and lucky I don't have to find a job now, because I'm not sure my style fits with the current style. And that's another reason why I'm so lucky. I think that we have tried to please the fan, not the owner. And by owner, I mean either Southern Illinois University or the coaches or any of those things. And that's made for some interesting moments. But at the same time, by being factual, I think that we have put the fans number one, and I think that's important in making 40 years. The job is political, Todd, and especially now in this business. But at the same time, Jerry Kill is a very good friend, and he's an athletic director at Southern now, an important man in my career when he was the football coach at Southern. It doesn't matter what he thinks of me. It doesn't matter what the people before him who had the charge of the broadcast, be the radio station forever. If the fans don't like you, the politics aren't going to carry you. They can't carry you very long. So I'm very fortunate. We've put the fans first. We've told them that their ball club, when it's been good, has been good, but we haven't made them out to be Duke if it's basketball, or if they're bad, we haven't made them out to be the worst team. We've told the truth. And when there have been issues, when there have been suspensions, when those sort of things, we've told the truth. And I'm very, very proud of that. There's only 4 times in 40 years where I felt like I haven't told people exactly what I know, and I'm very fortunate to be able to say that, because I don't think many people who have the type of jobs that I have can say that.
And after 40 years, I mean, you're not just the broadcaster, you're not just the voice of Salukis anymore, you're part of the bricks and mortar there down in Carbondale. I mean, you have to feel very secure in your job, but I'm also wondering, you know, having been a student at SIU and being this for long, there has to be something special about working for your alma mater that long, yeah, and being so connected to the school as you are now.
Well, winning and losing matters, Todd. Winning excites me. Even at 62 years old, even 40 years into it, I want Southern to win. I want to describe the game accurately, give the score, give the time, but I want Southern to win. More people are interested who are listening and will listen if Southern wins. And so that matters to me. I think I still have the passion. It depresses me when they lose, and it still matters even 40 years after I started.
So you've heard a lot about some of the teams that Mike has covered, 2 Sweet 16 teams national football championship in 1AA in 1983, some College World Series in baseball. I know personally there was a lot of characters you saw. You already mentioned Itch. Some great athletes, some great characters. Can you just kind of run down some of your favorite people from the year?
Well, when I was a student, Mike Glenn was the best player. Mike Glenn is the best player that I've seen at Southern, but I was a student reporter and a fan at the same time. We were in school at the same time. I include him in that. He was in the school with me at that time. He was great. Frazier is the guy that everybody knows Southern for. He was ahead of me. Darren Brooks, a key part, championships every year that he played at SIU, is the best player that I've covered. Kent Williams is the most impactful basketball player that I've covered. Rich Herron kept SIU, his success in the mid-90s, kept SIU a Division I program. I believe they were headed for Division II if his program doesn't succeed. Bruce Weber modernized Southern as a Division I program. It was so critical to my career at the time he came through. He revitalized my career. Matt Painter is the smartest basketball person I've ever been around. Jerry Kill has taught me a ton about the games and a ton about life. Ray Dempsey helped me understand how not to be a smart aleck kid and figure out how to be a pro when he was Southern's football coach. And Itchy Jones was a rock. Steve Finley was the best player that he had that I covered. Southern was tremendous baseball-wise at that time. I've been very, very lucky to see a lot of the great moments. The Sweet 16 in '02 is the biggest thing, the best thing in my mind. The '07 Sweet 16, probably the best team that I've covered in terms of basketball-wise. The national championship football team was very good. I did the '77 World Series as a student. That's one of the first things that I did. But the '02 Sweet 16 was the biggest stage that I was on at the first time, and so that's the one thing that I point to as number one.
You mentioned Steve Finley, too. There was a lot of guys on the baseball. I don't think necessarily people think of SIU and baseball right away because the basketball program has been so successful. But Dave Rona, Dave Steeb, you mentioned Finley, Derek Shelton, who's the hitting coach. The baseball program, Derek Shelton's been great.
Yeah, and Johnson, who's the new pitching coach of the Reds, was an assistant coach at SIU. It is a tremendous, tremendous tradition of baseball at Southern Illinois University, that's for sure. And a guy who's taught me a lot about that game, in addition to the people I mentioned, is here tonight, and that is Gene Green, who's part of the broadcast team for that as well as football.
Fantastic. Well, Mike Reis, congratulations on your induction.
My pleasure. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Illinois legend, Mike Reis.